All right, and here we are once again, everyone. We are here to review the next episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This, of course, is episode 4. The whole world is watching. What an episode to really discuss here. There's a lot that went down in this episode that we do have to talk about. Very excited to discuss this one. But before we do, I do have to introduce my co-host here, who moments before we were just talking about our absolute love for Tyrese Gibson in the Fast and Furious movies, because he is a god among us all, and we must respect him. But anyway, I'm going on a tangent here, as I usually do. Here he is, FilmFan0599.
The Tyrese Gibson in the MCU went. Now, anyways, but,
I mean, he's gonna be in Morbius, so it's possible.
It is possible. But anyways, hey, what's up, you guys? FilmFan0599 here again, and we're here to talk about the newest episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I actually did not know that was the title of this episode, and it's honestly perfect for this episode, considering especially what happens towards the end of this episode. But I'm very, very excited to talk about this episode. A lot went down in this that I thought was really great. So I'm really excited to talk about this.
So normally I let you go first and talk about your thoughts, but because of the fact that I was not a big fan of last week's episode, I'll just get into it. Going into this episode, I really did not have too many expectations. I was really just hoping the show could get back on a good track for me, because as you guys know, I did enjoy the first 2 episodes a lot, and then the third one kind of disappointed me. So I was just really hoping that this episode could get things back to the way it's supposed to be, and my God, did it ever. This episode was fucking amazing. I thought this episode, they did such a great job of finally not just propelling the story forward, but also giving us those character beats that we really wanted and taking us in a direction that I really did not think we were going into. And it really stems back to the fact where I say this is definitely maybe the most adult project the MCU has ever done, especially with the way things end this week. I really do still feel that way, that this is definitely really getting into some very dark territory, and I'm very interested in seeing where these last 2 episodes go. But Double Nine, what did you think of this week's episode?
This is definitely my favorite episode so far. This was a really, really fantastic episode. I really loved where the territories that they went into with this. I love that, I did love that we went more back to kind of, the more character stuff, although I do, I did really enjoy last week's episode, but I did like the fact that we went more back with like the character stuff. And I really liked where they went into with Bucky and Sam and John Walker and even the Flag Smashers, which finally are given actual character in this.
Yes.
And I thought I really enjoyed what they did with them here, honestly. There was a lot of really great stuff here, and I really enjoyed this week's episode a lot. I thought they really wanted to, obviously with the limited episode run that they have with this, really wanted to make the focus back onto the characters with this. And I thought they really utilized that well here in this episode.
Yeah, I thought this episode, they did a really good job of finally bringing everything together. And though I am still a little bit worried for these last 2 episodes in terms of how much they really have to wrap up, I'm a little bit more confident now that this is going to end in a satisfying way. But we'll just get into it right now. I think the first thing to really discuss is this week's opening scene, because we finally get to see something that I really wanted to see and we didn't get to. We actually get to see Bucky in Wakanda. If you remember at the end of Black Panther, he ended up showing up in Wakanda to basically, get them to help him out. And we finally get to see the full extent of what they did, because we see the character of Io, and obviously she showed up at the end of last week's episode. And any worry that she was just going to be, insignificant and she wasn't really going to do anything that big in the story is pretty much quelled here when we actually do get to see what she was doing. Not only is Io someone that was very heavily involved with Bucky's recovery, she actually was assigned to free him from Hydra's mental programming. She brings into this location. She says the words that are supposed to be like his trigger words, and it has no effect on him. And it's an amazing scene. And I've seen people say this, and I do agree. Sebastian Stan was fucking phenomenal just in this scene. You can see the pain and the agony of what he's going through, and then the utter relief on his face, the happy tears when suddenly he realizes, oh, I'm not programmed by them anymore. Oh, I'm not affected by this anymore. It's just such an amazing feeling. And even though we know that like he's been over this, it's just amazing to finally see it play out, but also just see how hard Io really worked in, you know, making sure he was freed of this. And for me, it made me care about this bond between Io and Bucky that much more. It shows how complicated this really is for Bucky, because Io really was kind of like a mentor to him. She's a big reason why he's freed of this, and I really liked getting to see that here. What did you think of this opening sequence?
I thought it was really fantastic. This was also something I really wanted to see too. I really wanted to see how Bucky's time was in Wakanda, and we, get to see that, and just seeing the relief that he has, and this is the first time really he's felt free from all of this, and it's nice to see, and we could see that like he feels, he feels free, he feels good, it is something that he hasn't felt in God knows how long. And I just really love that scene a lot. I liked the bond between the two of them. I thought it was a really nice way to open up the episode and really show us like what Bucky really, was doing in his time in Wakanda.
What happened? Oh, okay, you were done.
Idiot.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed that a lot, and especially when we cut back to what we got last week, and she's telling him like, you have 24 hours to hand Zemo over. You can see why this is so complicated for Bucky, because not only is Zemo, he feels the key to solving this whole situation with the Flag Smashers, but if he doesn't turn him over, he's basically disobeying and discrediting all the work that Io really did. And you can see that Io understands, the effect that this had on Bucky. She's very shocked by this. She doesn't understand why he would ever, why he would ever want to do something like this. And I like that she calls him out on this, because I said last week, this was a really weird move for Bucky to just randomly free Zemo like that. And I really liked getting to see that here. It showed that this was actually intentional. This is supposed to be something that we're supposed to question Bucky on. Why would he do this? It shows how far he's really come as a character, that he's even considered, seeing Zemo as an ally. And I really did like to see that here. So what was a problem for me last week has actual purpose now. And I actually respect the choice that they made.
Yeah, and I thought it was really well done here because, like I said, it's a very unlike thing that Bucky would do. Yeah. And, I like that she brings that up and, questions him on that. And it was really good. I really liked that, because, you did have a problem with it last week.
I did.
And, I thought they did a really good job with it, honestly. It was really good.
Yeah, and what this really does is when he's reuniting with Zemo and Sam, he is talking about, how involved like Wakanda is and things like that. And, he lets them know of all the bombings that the Flag Smashers have done. And he goes up to Zemo, and you can just see how annoyed he is by him. He's not necessarily like a fan of Zemo's. He smashes that glass in his face and things like that. And I really liked getting to see that. I really liked the way that was all done. What do you think of the Zemo and Bucky relation? Because it felt a lot more complicated here than it did last week, and I really liked that. Yeah,
it's definitely a lot more tense. You could definitely see, especially in that one scene, it's definitely a lot more tense, and it's really interesting to see how the rest of this will go, especially with Zemo and stuff. Like I'm really invested of really with their relationship here. I really thought it was because you could tell he's just Bucky is just really he's just not wanting to deal with this. He's like, look, I'm not playing with your games. I just need your fucking help with this. Like, just what I mean. Like, I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really good. Honestly, it was a really good moment.
Yeah, and I really like the stuff they did with Zemo this week where he's like tending to those kids and things like that. It's a really interesting direction for them to take him in. But the only thing I will say with Zemo is we still don't really know what his plan is. We have that scene with the Dora Milaje where it seems like they're going to capture him and then he just gets away. And we don't know like what actually ended up happening to him. So I'm interested in seeing how that really does play out moving forward and what's really going on with Zemo, because this week, at least, he doesn't really do a lot. And I'm interested in seeing, what they're going to do with him overall.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, when he plays Prison Break, the part 2, and and now he's free roaming and shit. So we should. I'm very curious to see where they'll go with him for the rest of the series. Honestly, in these last 2 episodes.
Yeah. So the stuff I really want to talk about, though, mainly 2 things that I really adored in this episode, because I think it's safe to say Bucky, while he was in this episode, did not have nearly as much going on character-wise as he did in some other weeks. This week really belongs to 3 characters. It belongs to Sam, it belongs to Carly, and it belongs to Walker. And that is really the best stuff within this entire episode. Let's talk about Carly, because I think it's safe to say this is not a character we've been feeling so far. This is not a character that we really have enjoyed all that much. I know you especially have had some issues with her. But what did you think of her stuff this week?
So my biggest problem, and really it's only been my only really big issue with this show so far, is that I just don't care about these Flag Smasher characters. I don't think they've given them enough development and really have shown, like, we understand their purpose and what they want to do, but I really don't feel I'm really necessarily attached to these characters and really knowing like how they are, and they're not giving really the best development for them. However, in this episode, I really do think they really do fix that really well, honestly. Now I really do care about these characters. I really want to see where they'll go in these last 2 episodes, because they do some really great development here, especially with the character of Carly. I think they do a really fantastic job with her in this episode. I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure we'll talk about it more in detail, but especially the scene with her and Sam, it's really great. Honestly, I'm really enjoying where they're going with her character now. I do think I have a better understanding of these characters now, because they're actually giving them development here. I thought they improved upon that, honestly. So I thought it was really great.
Yeah, it's really interesting what we actually get to see, because my biggest thing is I didn't necessarily dislike the Flag Smashers. I just didn't feel they gave them enough to do. Carly would get like 1 or 2 scenes every episode, and that just really wasn't enough for me. Whereas here, we really understand what they're actually trying to do. Not only do we see the significance of her mother's death, who clearly played an active role in developing this group. This is a reason why Carly stands for what she does, because clearly this is something that her mom probably, trained her to do or got her heavily involved with. So you definitely do see the purpose there. But what I liked even more is getting to see just Carly talking to this character of Nico, this character that is a part of the Flag Smashers. And he also is a huge fan of Captain America. And this is why it's complicated, because we realize that the Flag Smashers' goal, it's not necessarily to destroy the world. They just don't think a Captain America belongs in the world anymore. The world is too broken. They think that people are lost. They need someone that understands them. And they don't think that Captain America fits into this world. And this is a way more interesting conflict than what we've really been getting. And this is something that the show has dived into, the idea of, just does the world really need superheroes at this point? Is there a reason for them to be in this world right now? Do they really fit into this, especially when there were so many people that were suffering? And it feels like a majority of the Avengers didn't really suffer in that way because they were able to bring everyone back. The only real suffering that they had, obviously, were for those that were dusted. You know, they weren't given loans and things like that, say like Sam, but that's something that we really haven't focused on as much. And it kind of does come back here this week. And I really like this conversation that they have that, like, you know, today's heroes aren't keeping their hands clean. They can't keep their hands clean. They got to be a lot more dirty. And this is why they feel that they're needed within this world. And I really liked this conversation that they had. I thought they did some really good work with both Carly and the character of Nico, especially with the way things end up in this episode. I really liked what they ended up doing here.
Yeah, for sure. I really thought they did a really great job here, honestly. Like I said, they were a lot better developed. Definitely than they have been in these last couple of episodes. So I really enjoyed where they took the characters here. I thought they were really great, honestly. Like, I'm really loving the direction that they're going in. I'm very curious to see where they go in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, I think they really kind of show this week that, like, the Flag Smashers are not necessarily bad people. Like, yes, they've done bad things, but they're doing it for the right reasons. In their minds, this is their way to get the world back to the way it's supposed to be. You know, they don't want a world that is perfect. They think the world needs to be more complicated in that way. And I think it's interesting to see. But the stuff I really want to talk about is what we get with the Sam of it all, because Sam is given real purpose in this episode, which I love. I think Sam as a character has been great in the show. But what I didn't like about last week is that he felt more like a supporting character when he's like the main character of the show. He didn't have a lot going on with him as a character. This week, it's the complete opposite. This really does feel like Sam's show again. And what they do a really good job with both Carly and Sam is they show that, and I feel like I'm talking about iCarly every time I say Carly and Sam.
Right.
Yeah. But what they do a great job with is they decide to make a web show. No, they don't decide to make a web show. They realize that they have a lot of commonalities between each other, which I really loved. You know, we know that Sam especially has faced a lot of oppression in this show, a lot of oppression, whether it's, you know, when he was with Bucky and he was almost arrested, but then they realize, oh, you're an Avenger, and he had that luxury. You can see that there's a lot of similarities between these two characters. You know, Carly is someone that's seen as this terrorist, but really she's just a kid. She wants to try to, you know, get things back to the way she thinks it's supposed to be. And he talks about his sister and how she's also suffering from like certain injustices and that he does support her cause. He just doesn't really like the way that she's going about it. And again, this makes not only Sam's arc that much more important, but it gives Carly a lot more depth as a character. You see that there's a lot more commonalities between the two. Also, hello, Elevator's Not Worthy. We're glad to see you again.
Hello again. Yes, we got see. This is the advantages of doing this shit earlier. I feel is that, you know, we actually get viewers this time around. So let's go, bitches.
We do love to see that. But anyway, what I really loved getting to see here is that it gives Carly actual depth. We really do get to see the similarities between her and Sam, and that conversation that they had, I thought was just so well done. I love the way that whole thing turned out. And for me, I think it was, aside from the ending, the highlight of the entire episode.
Oh, for me, I thought this was the highlight for the whole episode for me, in all honesty. I really just enjoyed just seeing these two characters really, you know, because Sam, you know, what I like about Sam is he really wants to try and understand these, you know, he really wants to, you know, see where they're coming from. You know, he understands what they're doing. He understands what they're trying to do. He just doesn't think that, like, the way that they're going about it is the best way. And, you know, like, and I like that. I like seeing these two, you know, have a conversation, really try to, you know, get to know each other better, really, you know, and I really like that a lot. But then, you know, fucking John Walker has to get his fucking head into shit and, you know, has to ruin it fucking all, you know. So it was just a really great scene overall, and I really enjoyed it a lot, honestly. It might be my favorite moment of the whole show so far, to be honest with you. I just really enjoyed seeing these two characters really try to get on each other's level and really, try to understand each other. I thought that was really great, in all honesty.
I think it also gives us a sense of maybe where Carly's going to go after the show. I don't think the show is going to end with Carly dying. I think a lot of people have brought that up, and I don't think it's going to happen. I could see Sam maybe like taking her under his wing, and maybe she'll be like say Catherine Hahn's character in WandaVision, where we're going to see her again after the show. I could very well see that when it comes to Carly. I think there's a certain character that's going to die, which we'll get into, but I don't think that Carly is going to die here. But yeah, the other thing we really have to talk about is everything really does come to a head this week in terms of these storylines. Throughout the show, there's been like 3 storylines going on, and everyone really does come together here because we see Walker come in, and Walker as a character, oh my God, let's just talk about him, because my biggest thing with Walker as a character is I really loved his introduction, but since then, I don't think they've been giving this character enough to do. I feel like he's popped up every so often. It's similar to Carly, where they just haven't given him enough to do. And in this episode, it really does deliver. You really do get to see, him. He's trying to be like Captain America. He's trying to be this hero, and it's just not really working. Whether it's when he is with the Flag Smashers and, he can't seem to even be on their level, or the best action scene of the episode easily when the Dora Milaje comes in and he gets his ass handed to him by them. It's not even close. He doesn't even get to squabble with them. They just absolutely demolish his ass. It was an amazing sequence, the way that was done. I really liked where they went with, especially, we'll talk about the ending because I'm sure that's something that we gotta bring up. But what did you think of, Walker in this episode and where they're really going with him as a character, aside from the ending, of course?
Yeah. No, I thought they did a really great job of developing his character here because, we see that, like, he can't fucking do this. He cannot. He can't be Captain America. Like he's just pathetic. Like as Captain America. Like no one fucking takes him. Like there's no other way to put it. He's just pathetic as Captain America, and we see that in this episode. Like when the Dora Milaje, that's how you say it, right? I'm not trying to.
Dora Milaje.
Yeah.
Also, I actually disagree. I like that they did this because it really showed their power. We didn't know that they were able to do things like that. So I thought that was cool.
Yes. And we see him get his ass handed to him pretty fucking badly.
Yeah.
Like he can't even fucking take the shield off when the fucking spear is like through it. Like come on, dude. Like so he's just not doing a good job. It's very pathetic in my opinion. And and he even feels that he's like, why am I can't even fucking do this. So when we, during that whole big action set piece, when he sees that serum, the only one that's left,
when after Zemo smashes literally all of the battles, I did not think they were going in that direction. I really like that they went there because it's kind of like uncharted territory for the Flag Smashers story.
Yeah, I had a feeling that he was going to do that because, I know he's been very, so I knew, once I saw that, I was like, he's going to destroy all of this. And, right before he's about to get to the last one, fucking John Walker hits him over the head with the shield. And, and I was like, once I saw that last vial, I was like, oh, no. And then, and then obviously we'll get into it more once we do, when we get to that last action set piece. But, yeah, I already felt, and I also really like the scene between him and his friend, Battlestar. Yeah. I really like that scene where he's talking about, what would you do if you had the serum? I just really liked that scene a lot because it just,
it gave layers to him as a character.
Exactly. I really thought it was a really great scene, honestly. I really enjoyed it a lot. And Wyatt
they've done a good job of showing that nobody's necessarily in the wrong on the show. To John, he is doing these things, you know, because the fact that he feels this is the way he needs to be the hero. This is the way that he needs to try to bring everyone together. And then, well, that's true until like the, you know.
Exactly. And like I was trying to say before, I think Wyatt Russell is really great in the show, honestly.
Oh my God, yeah.
I really love his performance in the show a lot. I think he's doing a really great job here. Honestly, so yeah, I'm really being impressed with him in the show, honestly. He's really great.
Yeah, that's the other reason why I've wanted more of John Walker, because I've noticed from his introduction that Wyatt Russell has been phenomenal as this character. He's just, every single beat, he's done such a great job with understanding who this character really is, understanding the complex dimensions to his character. This is someone that, you know, the government put in place. They had huge expectations out of him, and he wasn't really ready for it ever. He was never ready for this responsibility, but this is an expectation that everyone has. He has to live up to, you know, someone like Cap, someone that was this guy that handled things perfectly. And he's not like that. He's, you know, a lot more rough around the edges. And I think Russell has just done such a great job exhibiting all of that as a character. I really liked what we ended up getting from him this week. But before we get to the big moment that we really do want to talk about, we got to get back to the Sam and Carly of it all, because what we really do get to see from this is Carly seemed like for a second she was actually going to listen to Sam. It seemed like he was actually getting through to her, but then Walker came in, fucked everything up, and she realizes, oh no, Sam might actually be working with Captain America, which he's really not. It's just that Walker insists on them working together and insists that, like, he needs to be the one to get this job done. Again, I feel like it's a self-preservation thing for him. He feels like this is his way to become Captain America. This is his way to fill that role that society wants him to. It's you know, to make sure that he handles this himself. He doesn't want anyone else to get in his way. And I really liked the way that that was handled overall. And so what we get to see is we get this scene where basically she kind of threatens Sam's sister. We see her call up Sarah and basically tells her that if Sam does not arrive for another meeting, she's going to threaten her. She was never actually going to do that, though. We see Sam meet up with her. And again, it seems like they're going to try to reason, but then all of a sudden we see Walker come in and the Flag Smashers attack them. And yeah, things are a lot more complicated here. And again, I think we can agree, like, if Walker is out of the equation, I think he's able to actually reason with her here. I think she's able to actually listen to him. But I think Walker, again, is really the problem. And we're really starting to see that here.
Yeah, because, you know, she, you know, it seems like she could trust him, but Walker just keeps on getting his, you know, his big fucking head into everything. And, you know, it's just like, it's like that. That's another thing where it goes with John Walker, where he just needs to, where I think it, like, he's just pathetic as Captain America. He just feels the need to have to get involved with everything. You know? Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm Captain America. I need to get involved with everything. Like bro, like, just take a step back, like, bro, like, and just fucks everything up for everyone else. And it's you know, it's really great. I really love seeing where all these characters are coming to a head, especially in this sequence, which, you know, which I thought was really fantastic. I thought this whole entire sequence was really great. It was a really great action sequence, honestly. Like, it was just tooth and nail, and, you know, it was just really great, honestly.
And you know immediately that there's something off with Walker because he's able to, like, bend that, like, crowbar or whatever, and you're like, oh no, we know exactly what happened there. They did a really good job of showing that he took the serum without actually showing that he took the serum. And I thought the setup was really great here, where, you know, they talk about how Captain America was an enigma in the sense where he was able to take the serum and still was, like, his own person. Like, this never really had an effect on Steve. He took it, it, and he was the same. He was the same kind-hearted, good-natured individual that he was when he was scrawny. It's not going to happen again. It was a miracle. It's not going to happen again. And Walker really kind of learns this the hard way here, where, he gets into this battle with the Flag Smashers, and at first, he really is holding his own here. It seems like they're actually able to fight. It seems like it's actually working out. Hoskins gets involved in everything, and he's fighting Carly. Carly pushes him up against this wall and accidentally kills him. He bleeds out. I don't think she meant to kill him there. I think she was just trying to subdue him, but he ends up hitting his head against the pole because he doesn't have serum. He's very much human, unlike Walker, and it is very tragic. And look, I have seen people complain that it does feel like a trope where, the white guy's black friend was killed and that his only purpose was to fuel the anger of Walker's character. And look, would I have wanted more with Hoskins? Yes, I think Hoskins is a really good character, but he also was very much like Walker's moral compass. He was the guy that was always like stopping him from going too far. Every time Walker wanted to do something, Hoskins was like, maybe just dial that back a bit. Let's really think about what you're trying to do. And with him gone, Walker is no longer thinking rationally. And I really liked this decision a lot. What did you feel about this death? And did you see it coming overall?
I thought they were gonna do. I'll be honest. I thought they were gonna do it at some point.
Yeah.
I guess this episode was probably, the more perfect time to do it because we only got two more episodes left and stuff like that. So, I figured it was gonna happen at some point because there had to be a point where John was gonna just fucking snap. And it ended up being here, and and like you said, he was his very moral compass. He was always the one that was pushing him from when he would take a bit steps ahead and stuff like that. And
I would assume it's been that way for a while, considering they were like in wars together and they've seen things together, so they've always had that commonality overall.
Yeah, and now that the fact that now he's gone, the Walker's a fucking loose cannon now, and we see that very prominently in the final shot of this episode.
Yeah, what we get here is one of the most jaw-dropping things I've seen in a while. I was not in a million years expecting them to go where they really did here. I knew that Walker was probably going to let loose at some point. I did not think he was going to do what he does here, because immediately when he realizes that Hoskins is killed, he flees out the window and he just hates everyone involved with the Flag Smashers. He wants them all dead. He doesn't care what's happened. He goes up to Nico. Remember, this is a character that once saw Captain America as someone that he really respected in that way, someone that he had a great amount of, he really kind of wanted to emulate in that way. That's why it was always very complicated for him. And not only does, do we see him go over to, Nico, and Nico is like, calm down. I'm not the one who did it. Walker doesn't hesitate. He literally murders him with the shield. And not only has he now killed this guy, he's killed him in broad daylight for everyone to see. People are taking videos of it. We get this horrifying shot of him covering this bloody shield. And we talked about this very early on in the show, that this was going to be like a Homelander type situation. And I remember in that episode, you said, there's no way they're going to take it to that level. I think they just took it to that level.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I was not expecting them to go to the violent places that they did, but I'm so happy that they did because of how much more complicated this whole thing is now.
Yeah, it was very intense to say the least. When that was happening, I was just like, oh, they're really going, oh Jesus. With the blood spewing everywhere and shit. I was really not expecting it to go into the place that it did. And I thought it was really well handled, honestly. Just seeing the fucking shocked faces on everyone.
Oh my God.
It was just such a really well done scene. And I thought it was really great, honestly. It's oh, sorry. We're going into some uncharted territory here with these next few episodes, and it's going to be quite interesting to say the least. I'm very excited now, honestly. There was no more perfect way, I think, to end this episode off than on this note.
No, I 100% agree. And I think the thing they did a really good job with in this episode especially is really getting us to do a couple things. One, understand that the Flag Smashers, they're really not the villains here. They're anti-heroes. They're doing things that necessarily, they're doing it for the right reasons, but they're still doing wrong things. So they're very much anti-heroes in that way. Whereas John Walker, he's always been in the background. We've always seen him, and I've understood what they've done now. It's been intentional. We've always meant to see him as this guy, oh, he's harmless. He's just someone that's trying to become a certain way. I thought he was just going to become like an asshole. I thought that's all he was really going to be. I did not expect that he was going to be this huge threat now to them, where this is a lot more complicated now, because we know that Walker, he wants to assist Sam and Bucky. He is insistent on doing that. But now they might have to neutralize him. They might have to, go against him. And I really don't know where this is actually going to go. And that's what I'm excited for. I don't know where this is headed now. I don't know if he's going to end up trying to kill Carly or something like that. Because Carly, she didn't mean to kill Hoskins, but she did very much kill Hoskins. So I have to assume that to Walker, anyone involved with the Flag Smashers now, he's just going to try to brutalize. And I really don't know where they are headed with this character, but that makes me very excited to see what they decide to do here.
Yeah, for sure. Because now it puts Bucky and Sam in a position where, we gotta fucking take this guy out now. Yeah. If he's going to be as unhinged as he was there, we've got no other choice. Exactly. So it's going to be really interesting to see where this goes in the last two episodes. I'm very, very excited. Honestly, it's gonna be quite the ride, and especially with this. Well, I guess technically this week's episode now, being an hour and 1 minute. I'm very excited to see where they're heading, and
thank God it is. First of all, thank God.
Yeah. So I'm very excited to see where it goes. Honestly.
Yeah, I really don't know where they're headed with this, and I'm very excited to see what they decide to do. I think this is an amazing, amazing place to take this character. And again, it makes Walker that much more dynamic of a character. And I know the entire show, people are saying, oh, I hate Walker. He's a terrible character, but he's such a good villain. He's such a good villain.
I think that's the thing. I think, it's doing its job well in the fact that you are supposed to despise this character a lot. Yeah. And I think it's doing.
And every week we've gotten more and more irritated by him.
Yes, exactly.
Job with that.
So I think they've done a really fantastic job with that. Honestly, you know what I mean? And it just makes him one of the most interesting characters on this entire show. In all honesty, it's really, really great. Honestly, how they have developed this character and really have made you really want to despise this character a lot.
Especially what they've been saying about, superheroes the whole show. I feel like Walker is kind of like the pure embodiment of that, where he really shows just how complicated this whole thing really is. And you start to understand where the Flag Smashers are going. So yeah, I love everything about this choice. I think this was absolutely the right time to do it. And I do agree with Brandon's comment here. This needed to be the turning point. And I think this absolutely was the turning point for sure. I think a lot of people have brought this up. This is going to be an image in the MCU that we're never going to forget. And it also sucks because now this is what Captain America's shield is associated with. This is what people are going to remember. This is the other thing. It's going to have a ripple effect now on his legacy. And considering so much of the show has been contingent upon, we need to remember what Steve would do. We know what that shield stands for. I think this is really going to take Sam in that direction where, he needs to, redeem the legacy of that shield. And I think that's when he's going to finally accept that, maybe I do need to accept this job. Maybe I do need to become Captain America. I think that's really where they're headed, and I'm excited to see what they do with that.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I'm really excited about these last two episodes. I'm really because I've been a really big fan of this show. In all honesty, it's easily becoming one of my favorite things in the entire MCU. So I'm excited to see where these last two episodes will go.
Yeah, I really love what they're doing, but the only thing I don't love that they're doing, and I'll talk about this right now because it's my only real flaw with the episode, I'll just be honest. I don't know why the fuck Sharon Carter is still in the show. I really don't. They're not doing anything of interest with her. She has like 2 scenes this entire episode where Sam calls her in. She gives them information about Mandrapore. She gives them some information about the power broker. She finds coordinates on, something involving the Flag Smashers, and she just isn't doing anything of interest. And I talked about this last week. I really do think the show, in terms of Sarah, would have benefited, from Sharon, would have benefited from getting to see her backstory, getting to see what she's been up to since Civil War, because right now I just don't feel she's doing anything significant, and I hope she gets more in this next episode, but I was really not a fan of what they did with her here. I'm not here for her just being this like exposition type character that's here to call Sam in every few minutes. I feel like she had that great action set piece last week, and now it just seems like they don't know what to do with her. So that was really my only real flaw with this episode, I would say.
Like I said with last week's episode, I'm not as passionate about Sharon Carter as like a lot of people are and stuff like that.
It's because I feel that they could have done things that made her a more interesting character, and they haven't really done that.
Yeah, I know. I get that. But I don't know. Just for me, I don't know. It's like I said with last week's episode, it's just not as big of a deal for me as it might be with other things. I don't know. But yeah, maybe there could be more that they could be doing with her character. I'll agree on that. But I don't know. Maybe for me, I just don't feel it's as much of a problem for me as it is for some. I don't know. But
I think the thing is that they've teased that she's played like such a big role in the show. They've teased it heavily, like in the trailers and TV spots and posters and things like that. And right now she just really isn't doing a lot. And with 2 episodes left, I'm not really sure what her purpose in this show is. And again, maybe that changes next week. I know we're apparently going to get some like big cameo next week, which I do think we're actually going to get it this time. I think that they would have teased it a lot earlier if this was going to be another fake out. I do think we're actually going to get like some cameo. It's going to be like General Ross or something like that. I think that's probably where we're going to go in terms of the cameo. I don't want to speculate on it too much because when you speculate, it just disappoints you. So I'm not going to do that too much. But I'm just not a big fan of where they're going with their character overall. But virtually everything else about this episode, I really did enjoy, particularly Kari Skogland's directing. She's directed every single episode of this show so far, and I think she directs every single episode, and she's done such a great job. And what she especially did this week that I thought was so good is the darkness that was looming throughout this entire episode. You knew the second that Walker and Hoskins showed up, you knew this was going to go somewhere. You just didn't know where. And I think something that they did a really good job with. Also, that was not Okoye, Brandon. That was Io. We do not want to mix those 2 characters up. Very, very different characters for sure. But maybe Okoye shows up. That'd be cool if Okoye showed up for sure. I could see that potentially happening. But something that I think Skogland has done such a good job with in this show is, like I said, just the looming darkness throughout it all. And I think that's something that she really just dived into head first here. She showed in this episode, like, this is no longer going to be just like a fun and lighthearted, buddy team up. This is going to be a lot more dire now. And I really loved her directing in this episode. There was just such urgency here. And I really liked the way things were directed.
Yeah, same. I thought they were really well done. In all honesty, I thought it was really, really nicely directed. Like you said, with the looming, like the darkness looming, like you could feel it throughout the episode. And I thought she did a really great job with it here. And yeah, her directing, as it's been with all the episodes, in my opinion, has been really fantastic.
Yeah, and the writing here, once again, it's from Derek Kolstad, who, of course, did John Wick. And the opposite with last week's episode, felt like it was like a John Wick movie. But here, I didn't really feel that. I feel like he did a good job of giving us a lot more character, getting us to understand who these people are. It felt more like John Wick 3 in that way, where they actually do give a lot of character to people, and you get to see it, really well fleshed out amongst all the characters. And I really did like getting to see that, when it came to developing the Flag Smashers, making them a lot more interesting, giving them a much more complicated motivation now, understanding, where they really come from, deepening the layers of Walker and understanding that he's someone that's so consumed by the expectations that are put upon him that he becomes the very embodiment of what people did not want him to be. And now he is, completely failed in his mission in that way. I think he just did such a great job with writing that here, understanding where these characters are really going. Just really great writing overall. I thought the writing in this episode, I did see some people say maybe it was a little too fast moving, but I really didn't feel that way. I feel like this episode did a really good job of pacing everything out, really getting us to this point, and it just felt right in terms of the writing. I was very impressed by the way this episode was written.
Yeah, same. I thought the writing was really great with this episode. In all honesty, I really thought it was really, really good in my opinion. I really thought, I really did think so. Honestly, I didn't think it was that fast paced.
I didn't think so either. Yeah,
in terms of maybe rushing, I guess, but I thought they did a really great job. Honestly, I thought it was really well handled. In all honesty, I thought the writing was really great.
Yeah, I was really impressed with what they ended up doing for sure. And in terms of cinematography in this episode, I thought the action sequences were really well done here overall. Particularly the battle with, not the battle, but the face-off between Walker and the Dora Milaje, I thought was such a well-done action set piece, just really reminding us how powerful they really are. I mean, we've gotten to see it before, but what we're really reminded is that the Dora Milaje are one of the most powerful groups within the entire MCU. And, someone like Walker was never really going to be able to take them on. It was both a great moment to highlight that, but also just highlight again, how pathetic Walker really is and why he made that decision ultimately, because it was the Dora Milaje. He clearly didn't realize, what he was really getting himself into, and that it's the fucking Dora Milaje that you're taking on. But I really loved that sequence a lot. Probably maybe my favorite of the entire show so far.
Yeah, definitely a really fantastic action sequence. Yeah, I really enjoyed that scene a lot too.
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job with that. And again, the thing I really liked about this episode is I like the fact that we are getting increasingly longer every single week. I think this episode needed to be around the length that it was. It was able to tell this story and flesh it out to its fullest potential. And I thought they did a really good job with that. Overall, like I said, I was a really big fan of this episode. I think this is easily the strongest episode of the series so far. It fixed a couple issues that I've had with some of the previous episodes and showed that some of what I thought was a problem was actually a bit more intentional than I thought it was, whether it was understanding the Flag Smashers more, getting to see the comparisons between both Carly and Sam, getting to see just how similar, they are for what they really do stand for. It's just their ways of doing it are a little bit different, whether it was diving more into Walker as a character and really understand just how complicated things are for him and why he ultimately does make that decision, and especially where they decide to go with that ending, taking us into a direction that I really did not think they were going into, but makes me that much more excited to see where the show really does go. This just overall, besides what they're doing with that one issue, like I said, with that one character that I just don't see the purpose of right now, I really am loving where the show is going. I really do hope these last two episodes are just as satisfying as this one really was. And I am going to give this week's episode, The Falcon and Winter Soldier, episode 4, The Whole World is Watching, overall an A-.
Shabba-da-boo. All right. Overall, I thought this was a really phenomenal episode. I really loved pretty much everything with this episode. The way that it goes deep with Sam, the Flag Smashers, John Walker. I just loved how they really went deep with those characters. The action sequences were really fantastic. The directing was great. It was just overall a really great turning point for this show that, obviously it needed, especially considering we don't have that many episodes left. And really just, it was really fantastic. I really loved every minute of it. I do think it is my favorite episode of the episode of the show. Of the show so far. And I think Mr. Sarah, even though her name is Sharon. Anyways, but no, this is a really fantastic episode overall. I'm really excited to see where these last 2 episodes are gonna go. And very great in my opinion. And I'm going to give this episode an A. Bubba the boom, bubba the bang.
All right. And so with that, that is it for our review of this week's episode. But before we do that, we do have to, of course, do the best part here. We have to get to your outro and your plugs and
all right. Anyways,
so go ahead, Mr. Double Nine.
All right, you already know what the fuck it is. Twitter's, TikToks, YouTube's, FilmFan0599. That's where you can find me on all of them shits. And then, of course, you already know what it is. You can find me on the letterboxes at WWEFan0599. And because they won't let me change the username. And Kevin.
Just like how a bunch of the Flag Smashers could not take those vials, Letterboxd will not let you change your username. It's very unfortunate to see you in this this continual predicament. We really we need a solution, which is not to take the vials. That's not what you want to do, but we do need some kind of solution here. But anyways, guys, that's it for our review of this week's episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Really love where the show is headed. Hoping these last 2 episodes. I can't believe we're already at the last 2 episodes. It's kind of crazy to think about. I feel like this show just kind of started, which it kind of did. Anyway, I'm very excited to see where the show does go in these last 2 episodes for sure. I think we're heading in a really interesting direction for the show. But other than that, guys, for our review of this week's episode, hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you guys in our next video, and we will see you guys for that. Okay, bye. Fuck you. I'm about to kill you in broad daylight.